Today's guest lives by the philosophy that offering less enables you to build a business that others simply can't touch. Has it worked? Has it ever? It's a ridiculously simple yet powerful episode 660 of the 14-year-old award-winning Small Business Big Marketing podcast.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to your weekly dose of mobile skip marketing. That'll make sense shortly. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, and I have an insatiable curiosity for uncovering marketing ideas that help businesses just like yours to grow. And I do that by having a weekly in-depth conversation with a successful business founder that's kindly walked the path before us. You, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner, ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. As per usual, team, there's marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Hey, if you are enjoying this podcast and want a little bit more marketing love to grow that business of yours, then consider joining my Small Business Owner membership. Not only will you find 40 marketing ideas that I've captured on video, there's also a mountain of video interviews I've done, a few productivity tool reviews, and some sneak peeks behind the scenes. Or if none of that's of interest and you'd just like to make a contribution to the running costs of this podcast, then who am I to say no? For more info, head to patreon.com/marketing podcast. And a big thank you to those that have already joined. Every little bit counts, and I appreciate your membership so much as I endeavour to move away from a sponsor-funded show to a more listener-funded show. You can check it out for 7 days free over at patreon.com/marketing podcast. 8 years ago, and without any industry experience, Jacob Spencer bought the underperforming mobile skips business. That's its name, Mobile Skips. Yes, he owns the category. This year, it will turn over $8 million thanks to his very motivated 17 franchisees across Australia, a lucrative Bunnings contract, and his very own and unique skip bin design. Yep, he's even gone to those lengths. Now, if you think there is nothing to learn from a mobile skip business, then you could not be wronger. Is that a word? No, it's not, but I'm going with it. Jacob, who's incredibly humble about his business achievements and marketing know-how, has built a highly profitable business off the back of some very clever yet simple concepts. Concepts that, as you will see, have made it hard for others to replicate, and concepts that you can apply immediately into your business, no matter what industry, no matter what category you operate in. Trust me, this is an episode for the ages. So seriously, grab a journal, as you're about to discover so much business and marketing gold, including why choosing to do less creates an untouchable business, the power of offering a celebrity service, and that's not what you think, by the way, what you can learn from Janine Ellis and her Boost Juice empire, how to create a brand that attracts the right staff, the right franchisees, the right customers. Jacob explains how he's encouraged over 5,000 Google reviews, and you'll hear yet another example of a compelling customer experience and how to create one. A big thank you to past guest and founder of Lord of the Fries, Amanda Lee Walker, for bringing Jacob and his business to my attention. And remember that if you would like to watch this interview, then simply join my Small Business Owner membership over at patreon.com/marketing podcast, where the first 7 days are free. I started off by asking Jacob, why rubbish removal?
Oh, great question. I haven't always been in rubbish removal. Actually spent most of my time and career in food and in fast-moving food. Rubbish removal came about when I was looking for a great business to acquire, a small business to acquire and apply my skills that was in an industry that wasn't really sexy. didn't have a lot of great experience for customers, and thought I could use my skills in customer experience and make our business into something different and better that would stand out from the crowd.
Oh, I love that, mate. Already. There's a bit that resonates with me there. Because my next question was, funnily enough, was the bar low? And I was sort of guessing it was an opportunity for you to go and exercise whatever skills you had around marketing communications, customer experience.
I think that the bar it wasn't so much it was low, it was that a lot in our industry in rubbish removal and skip in hire, they're made to target big business, big construction companies. And so then when they point that machine at mums and dads at home, it's just not designed to give them a good experience.
Yeah.
And so our business, that's where we focus most of our energy. What is John and Jill, who have their home and want to clean up at home, what do they need, and what does good experience look like for them? Because it as hell isn't a truck turning up and breaking their driveway, and this big truck driver getting out and not giving them good experience.
Yeah, I get it, mate. And just looking at the way you guys go about your business, just looking at your online process, your customer experience, which we're going to cover in the next hour or so, I can see exactly what you've done. Funnily enough, Jacob, and my listeners don't know this, but I sniffed around buying a window cleaning business a few months ago for exact reasons you just mentioned, which was, and I've interviewed too many people who have been in the marketing game, who have given advice to real business owners, to the point where they've gone, I just need to test this advice as to whether it really works on my own business. Stu McGregor from Four Pillars Gin is number one case in study, but there's a litany of the 650 interviews that I've done where people have done that. It's like, I've got to test what I know.
Yeah.
So did you pleasantly surprise yourself quickly, or upon buying the business?
No, we did surprise. We were surprised in the business. To be honest, it was a little easier than what I thought it was going to be to wow customers. So coming from a hospitality background where service is baked in and looking after people is just part of what you do, it's part of the normal expectation. When we started doing that in rubbish removal, I was honestly surprised that people did resonate, go, wow, this is so much better than I was expecting. And we started measuring reviews 7 years ago to work out what we were doing wrong. I wanted to know what is it that's broken? What is it that I wanted to hear about all the bad experiences so we could fix them? And we just started getting good reviews about what we were doing and how we were doing it. And that was initially surprising, which was great.
I'm surprised that was surprising, because let's face it, some industries are more broken than others, right? There's always room to improve, I'm sure, in any industry. But
yeah,
I don't know, mate. What are we talking? 15 years ago, you buy this business. Back then, I would have thought, just as an outsider and someone who occasionally got a skip to their home, pretty low bar. Terrible service, didn't know when they were going to arrive, chip your driveway, maybe put it on the lawn, gave you no advice. These are all very simple things that I would have thought wow was cheap. Wows were cheap to come by.
It was, and without doing, you don't do a lot of research. Like when you're small and you're little, the research you do is looking and seeing and experiencing it yourself as a customer. Do a bit of mystery shopping, figure out what the others are doing, ask a few customers what they like. So, you start to do these little micro surveys, I call them. And so we knew that there was an opportunity to just do it well and do it consistently, and look like we knew what we were doing. So have good uniforms and present well and greet the customer by name and build a relationship with them. These things that, you expect when you go to a coffee shop or a restaurant or I was going to say a supermarket. It doesn't happen in supermarkets. I won't even go there. But any place where you go as a customer yourself, you want this type of interaction. You want these experiences. And we were seeing that they weren't happening. They weren't happening with skip in hire. So just by introducing what's done in other industries into rubbish removal, it was it resonated. I didn't realize it would resonate that much. We thought, yeah, it's going to be good and we can then build on it. It's just that it really did surprise a lot of customers. So
was it one of the first things you did, Jacob, versus like, I mean, so you bought what did you buy? Let's just go back and unpack what you bought and how
So it was actually 7 years ago. The founders were looking to get out of the business for various reasons. So it was a bit over 7 years ago and we started the conversation. And I was, what we bought then was a business that had started. They got the product right, so they designed a really great product in that it's a skip bin on a trailer on wheels, so it means that you don't damage driveways. It's got lids on it, so those dodgy neighbours don't throw all their stuff in overnight. If you've got dodgy neighbours in your street. So it's designed for the mum and dad at home who's cleaning out. So that product was designed and they worked that piece out. But it wasn't beyond that. They weren't measuring what customers' expectation were. They didn't have systems and processes that would enable scale and franchising, which is what we've done as well.
So it wasn't a franchise at that point in time.
They had started franchising, but there wasn't the support with a good software and systems and processes that would enable the franchise model to continue to grow. Mm-hmm. So the business, we then did two things where the strategy was, how do we make the customer experience a great experience that customers will remember and build word of mouth and build fans in our brand, and then put systems and processes into the business that will enable it to scale and allow franchisees to easily do the things that they need to do that will give that great experience. So that's a little bit about. There's a great book about called Uncommon Service. It's bright green with a little smiley face on the front. It's an American writer called Francis Fry. It's one of my favorite books, and it's about the things you choose not to do, and design your system that means it's easy for everybody to be able to give the great experience.
Love it.
And usually what tends to happen is we look to do more. So by really understanding what the customers want and choose just those things you want to do well on, that'll mean you can do them more easily. You can execute them more often.
I love in our pre-chat you said, we should talk about why choosing to do less allowed you to design a service model that others can't touch. Big claim. But it's funny that you should say that, because only last night I was listening to an interview with Johnny Ives, Steve Jobs' right-hand man, the guy who basically is responsible for the design of the iPhone, the iPad, et cetera, Yeah. And he was all about less is more. And he was all about in the background of an iPhone, there's a lot going on, right? But from your and I point of view, you couldn't find a simpler device.
No.
You could hand an iPhone to an alien and they could find, or a 5-year-old kid, they're going to find their way around.
Back when the iPhone came out, it was one of the first electronic devices at that price that didn't come with an instruction manual.
That's right. No instruction manual. It was like, how cocky is that? But God, there's beauty in simplicity. So let's just dig a bit deeper on that. So there are lots. What I'm hearing, I guess, is there are lots of things you could potentially do within your mobile skips business, with add-ons and bright, shiny objects and things that look cool but really add no extra value to me, the customer's life.
So many. And look, we're challenged with it now. There's the question is how would you add products or services without it deteriorating the service model? So back in the beginning, the difference between us and a lot of other skip bin operators is we only have one size. So we only do one. So that means we've only got one asset that drives around and runs around and services all of our customers. Where if you look at a conventional skip bin operator, they might have everything
all sorts of sizes, mate.
2 to 30. Like lots
I don't know what I want.
Lots of different sizes.
I don't know. I don't know the literage of a skip bin.
No. And so we've deliberately kept that for a long time as one product. And the reason being is that product is the right size for the majority of our customers' jobs. Sometimes we're too big. Sometimes we're too small, but the majority of the time it's the right size. But by keeping it that size, it means that we've always got enough inventory to be available, which means we can deliver a lot faster. We don't need a truck to deliver as well. We can deliver within 3 hours, sometimes within 30 minutes, but we guarantee we deliver within 3 hours, and that 99.7% of the time our orders are on time. And that's something we figured out a long time ago, that it was the most important thing for a customer. If it wasn't on time, nothing else mattered. So getting it there fast was all about designing and making decisions like, don't add more products to make it harder. Only be able to deliver 3 skip bins in a morning. How big our franchise territories are and when they were able to deliver. All of these decisions go into that one thing, which is we want to be able to deliver fast.
Tell us about a moment when you had to sit on your hands, bite your cheeks, and just go, so I want to implement that idea. We need an extra size, or we're going to miss a couple of $1 million in business because we're not going to do this, and it's like we got to do it. But you were so determined to stick to your core values.
Well, I can tell you a story where we did it and it failed, and when I sat on my hands. So
go.
We designed. We had this great idea that we wanted to build a much bigger trailer in terms of the infrastructure to carry around heavy stuff like concrete and soil for our landscaping jobs, which were about another 20% of business. So we went and built all these trailers without thinking about it. This was early on. Didn't listen to myself about, no, you got to stick to it. This is a great idea. And bright, shiny thing over here, business owner, bright, shiny thing, let's go and do it. We built a whole bunch of trailers. I think it was about 20 of them. Spent a lot of money, implemented them in, started selling them, and just caused chaos. Ended up making all the things that we knew we wanted to do well, we couldn't do. We couldn't deliver on time. We didn't have enough of them. It ended up taking up time when someone should be delivering another job. All the things that went wrong did go wrong, and we got rid of them. We literally sold them or scrapped them pretty quickly.
Was it hard, or was it very easy?
It was easy to make that decision because I reflected on it, and we should have just stuck to our knitting for longer and thought more about it. So the next time this came around, a long time ago, we've designed our trailers, that we've designed many, many years ago, and we build them in a way that means that we can more easily get them around the country. And we got our manufacturers to design us a bigger one, an even bigger one for volume. The one that I was telling you about was more to carry heavy stuff. This was one where it could carry bigger volume, and we saw someone in the market doing it. I'm like, that's a really good idea. We should enact we should start manufacturing that one we've got. And then I thought, what did we learn last time? What's this going to actually do for us? It's going to give us some more sales. It's going to give us another product, but how's it going to impact our core business? So we decided that the impact on our core business was not worth doing the extra add-on in terms of how it would disrupt us. So we decided to not do it.
Well done to you, and saved a fortune.
Saved a fortune, but more, saved a lot of headaches for our franchisees. It would have cost them time and money and made their business more difficult to run. I'll wait till later, but we've since put a new thing into our business where we've considered how we make it easier for our franchisees to add this product in rather than make it harder, which is what we learned from this too.
It's not as if you don't spend time thinking about how you can make the business better. It just sounds to me like you're very wary about adding things for the sake of adding things, whereas there are so many of us out there that it's just so seductive. It just seems obvious. But, having one bin alone, I mean, let's talk about choice. Us humans hate choice. And you've honoured that. I mean, I think I've quoted in a previous episode the famous case study of the jam manufacturer in the supermarket where they got the end of an aisle, big promotion, cost them a lot of dough, 20 flavours of jam, didn't sell any. Dropped it to 15 flavours, sold a few. The short version of the story is they got it down to 3 flavours and sold a bucket load because the choice was so limited. Yeah. And the 80-20 rule applies anyway.
Yeah.
We hate choice.
No, it's the example I always use is going to a country Chinese restaurant. And
I know what you're going to say. I'll have number 97, thank you.
Yeah, 97 or 125. There's every which way you can possibly, and you please you choose for me. Versus a really great restaurant. I mean, I used to be a big fan of when Huckster Burger first started. And it was just 5 burgers, and that's all they did.
I've interviewed Daniel from Huckster Burger.
Yeah, there was no options, and naturally they've changed a little bit over time because it's hard not to. But when they started out, there was some chefs that wanted to create a really great burger, and they created a really great burger because they only had to make 5 really great burgers, and they were delicious.
It's such a big learning. I go to a new cafe down the road from me. They have mastered the art of the toasted sandwich, Jacob, and they have 3 on offer. And there is a couple of other things. There's an egg and bacon burger, and there's a couple of pastries, and that is it. It's a young couple, and I just think it's the bravest move, but incredibly smart, because I go there, I know what I want, it's going to be great. I don't have to bug around with choice, and you walk away happy. And you can, and the owners, are controlling the outcome because they ain't got that much to worry about.
Well, I'll give you one more example, which I love. It's actually not far from where I am here in Melbourne. It's in Thornbury at the top of High Street, and it's Casa de Nata, and it is the best Portuguese tart I've ever had, and that is all they do. They've got one product. They make coffee that you can have with it. They've got a big open window onto the street where you can see them making it by hand, and the ovens going in, and they literally out the front just say, Melbourne's best Portuguese tart. I would actually say, no, this is the world's best Portuguese tart. It's the best I've ever had. Yeah. That's all they do, and there's people lining up. They come from everywhere to go get it, and they only do one product.
Just to put a bow on this discussion around simplicity, lack of choice, bravery, and focusing on what you're good at, what's your advice to those business owners listening who would go, I would so love a bit of what Jacob's done with mobile skips? Where do they start?
Don't be tempted by doing more equals more sales, and focus on what your customer loves about you already, and see if you can do it better and better.
Great advice. Jacob, what have you learnt from Janine Ellis and Boost Juice?
One of my favourite memories of Boost is the experience. And one of the I used to work with Janine a long time ago in operations and running our company-owned stores, which I absolutely loved.
At Boost.
At Boost Juice. And the biggest thing I learned was about experience, customer experience, and standing out from the crowd. Now, everyone loves Boost Juice, and it's a place to get a healthy, great drink when you're in a shopping centre. But as you know, in shopping centres, there's shops everywhere, and there's so much choice. And at Boost in the early days, one of my favourite things was when we employed people, we were looking for team members that had a bit of energy, had a bit of pizzazz about them. So we used to do auditions as opposed to interviews. And we'd have these group auditions where one of the tasks they had to do was to do a fashion show made out of newspaper. So they get all these newspapers, do a fashion show, and what we were looking for is we're looking for creativity and taking something that was just standard and turning it into something amazing. And what that meant was we would hire these people in our shops that had energy, had some personality, and loved giving a great experience. So not only would you have the music pumping and the blenders buzzing as well, but they would be putting on a bit of a show, pouring drinks differently, a bit of creativity, which then ended up getting people attracted to that experience. And that stood out. I mean, that was years ago. That stood out to me as, don't just hire for attitude, but people who are going to be a little different, who can take something as pretty simple as putting, if you think about it, what Boost Juice is putting fresh fruit or frozen fresh fruit in a blender and pressing go.
Mm-hmm. Not hard.
It's not hard as a business, and that's one of the benefits of being able to scale that business as a franchise model. But how do you do what you do? So we just talked about simplicity, keeping it simple, but then how do you add a bit of unexpected experience into the model that really makes it memorable for customers?
Well, again, and what you're doing is building not only a great customer brand in an industry where brand hasn't been big, you're building a great employee brand, bringing people in. And I've interviewed Ant Morell from Bounce, the indoor trampoline thing, and he does exactly that. In fact, goes to the point of making it almost like an Australian Idol audition. And he had photos of would-be employees queuing to come in and, audition, do this job interview. And back to Apple, Apple do that very well. It's lovely to walk into an Apple store and see the diverse range of people in there, from the 65-year-old retired gentleman who just always wanted to, provide some IT support, to the 18-year-old girl just out of school covered in tats and has just this deep knowledge of Apple computers. I mean, and it's wonderful. It just makes, again, it adds to the experience, and that's free.
It is. And I think it's what it is about is it's giving the team, and in our circumstance, how we do it is our franchisees permission to be a little different. There's a framework around.
That's important.
Yeah, there's a framework for how you do what you do that you follow. That means that you do the things at a minimum that need to happen that give a good experience. But there's permission there to go outside of that in order to give the customer a memorable experience that they remember. That then, for you personally, feels good. There's nothing more enjoyable when you give a good experience and you see that reaction on a customer's face where they smile or they're genuinely, wow, I wasn't expecting it. Thank you. And it makes you feel good about what you've done.
I interviewed Brett Godfrey, who brought Virgin Blue to Australia all those years ago. And we were talking about this. And, Virgin have never had to run an employment ad because it's a strong brand. And certainly back then it was even stronger. Like, everyone wanted to work for Virgin. It was just Ansett and Qantas back then. And he talked about the idea that there is this, as you say, there's this baseline of this is the Virgin brand and you must meet these certain brand criterias, you wear the uniform and this is how we do certain things, systems and processes. But then there's a point where the cabin crew can leave that behind and be themselves. And he gave the example of a lady, early 20s, who was her business was face painting at kids' parties. That was what she did, right? Dressed up as a clown, did some face painting, and she was allowed to carry her face painting kit on plane. So when the kid mucked up, in the back of the plane crying and screaming because his ears are hurting, whatever it may be, she could go and do her thing, right? Still in a Virgin way, but also bringing her personality to it. And again, I hear so many business owners, Jacob, complaining about, it's hard to attract and retain great staff. Well, here's the bloody masterclass on that.
Give them a way in which they can be themselves and show a bit of their own personality and do the things that they know are going to give them great feedback. I mean, I just love one of our values in our business is respecting the transaction. It's like, the fact that somebody's chosen to use you as a business is, we respect that and we treat that with utmost respect. And in doing so, it means then you tend to do things for that customer that that you would want done for yourself, like giving them a helping hand. One of our franchisees is renowned for helping people load their bins. It's not part of our service. It's actually where we got the idea for another product or service we've just launched. But he just wanted to give them a hand, or he'd take around a saw with him, like a power saw, because if they couldn't fit stuff in the bin, he'd go, I'll just chop it up for you and help you with it. Because I'm just going to make your life easier, because that's what I would want myself.
The new service you're talking about, is this your celebrity service?
No, it's a new product. I'll talk about celebrity service, but no, it's a new product that we've just launched in rubbish removal, which is if you've got less than a full skip of rubbish, we've used our technology and this idea of giving customers a helping hand, that they can take 3 photos and share it with our franchisee of what they've got, and they can give them quick, fast service of a price and pick it up on their way to another job. So it's designing it so while they're in between jobs, they can do this other service of helping someone who might not have a full skip bin, but has got a few things that they need to get rid of and they want to get rid of the right way. And instead of waiting for their 1 year hard rubbish collection, they can just put it on their nature strip and we'll get it on our way past, that morning or that afternoon.
Are they paying less, or are they still paying full freight, but they're getting rid of the skip earlier?
No, they're paying less. So they're paying way less. They're paying the equivalent of what it would be if they filled up a quarter of a skip or a half a skip.
Brilliant. But
they're just getting rid of it faster instead of having to wait until they've got that rubbish piling up.
These are such shareable things, these little wow moments. Wow. Skip bin guy just said, take 3 photos and he'll tell me that I don't need to pay full freight. It might be half price. I mean, this is amazing. What in terms of your customer base, is there much loyalty? Like, I look at my use of skip bins, maybe once every 3 or 4 years, maybe not even that. I'm probably not your ideal customer, but you do all these amazing things for people then to leave you at this point in time 5,103 reviews on Google. We'll get onto that in a minute, Jacob, but you do all this amazing stuff in the hope that they'll come back, knowing that they probably don't need to come back for a long time, or in the hope that they tell others?
Both. So both. Though our average customer will come back once a year, or a little less than that, about once every 11 months. The add-on of this product is to increase that, to make it easier for them to come back more frequently when they've got things piling up that aren't as big as a whole skip bin. But the big one is to tell their family and friends, because usually what happens is, if you think about last time you needed a service you don't need often, so a plumber or an electrician. If you're at one of your kids' football games or at a barbecue and you've got this problem and you ask one of your friends and go, oh, have anyone got an electrician or someone I need? If they say, oh, I've got a guy, you are going to trust that your friend has been looked after. Like if I told you, that I've got this guy, this electrician that lives near you, it's be the first person you call.
Yep.
So the reason we do it is to get both, is to continue to have that long-term stickiness, and we want those customers to use us when they need us. But more to the point, we want them to tell their friends and family that might need them too. They might be moving out of home, they might be doing a small project, and they just don't know how to get rid of the rubbish or the waste, except for tow it themselves to the tip, which will, by the way, cost them more, not just in time.
Yeah.
And they would love a recommendation.
So do you actively do that, or you just do that through your actions in the hope that they're going to go, wow, I need to tell a whole lot of people?
We do it. We mostly do it in hope that happens. We have some tactics and some local area tactics that are, some vouchers and things like that our franchisees hand out, so that they've got the tools to use them, like some $50 off cards and things like that. That, hey, if you've got friends that would need us, here's a really great way to help them along the way.
Nice. Yeah, I had Paddy Lund on many years ago, a dentist who completely challenged the dentist category. And one of the things he did was sack 75% of his customer base, retain 25% of those that he really wanted as patients, and gave them 2 business cards each and said, hey, listen, if you know 2 people like you, give them these cards. Because he had a private number, he had no signage. He just he really challenged the way dentists went about being dentists, and it worked beautifully. He ended up working less and charging more as a result,
Yeah.
What's your celebrity service, Jacob?
Our celebrity service is a concept that we got from a lovely guy called Jeff Ram, who's an author, who came up with the concept of celebrity service. And I met Jeff many years ago, and then he came and did a workshop with us quite a few years ago to describe and help induct our franchisees in this concept of this gap. And I love it. I think he does the best example of this. So I encourage you and all your listeners to Google him and have a look. He's got a great Jeff Ram, R-A-M-M, and Jeff with a G. He's a British guy. and he's got a couple of books. There's 2 versions of Celebrity Service, and we're actually in one of them for one of the things that we do, and I'll tell the story about that. So Jeff's, the Celebrity Service is about saying, if your service is good or even great, there's things about every business, and I probably ask your listeners to think in their businesses, get them to rate their service. And there'll be some there that say, right, my service every day is great. And it's great because of these things that we do in our business. We have tea and coffee that's free. We open hours that other people don't open. That we give amazing discounts on certain days. Whatever it is that you do, there'll be things that make you great. Then the trick here is to ask yourself, right, who is your favorite celebrity? So let's say it's George Clooney. All right, if George Clooney was coming to your business tomorrow, what are those things that you would do differently to what you do now? Oh, well, I'd do this, and this. It's the list of those. It's the idea of those things that come about that you could do that might not be that difficult to do for George Clooney that build that gap. And they build that gap that helps keep you ahead of the competition. So in our business, what we did and what we asked ourselves is our franchisees were looking at what are the things that we would do if a celebrity came along. And we came up with a whole bunch of different ideas. And we do this regularly, and we try to do it as much as we can to keep thinking about what is celebrity, because eventually you do those things, they become good, and you want to keep going to that next level again. But one of the things that we do in our business is we measure who we know who customers are that come to us for the very first time. And the customers that come to us the very first time, we assume they've never used a skip in before and they're about to do a whole heap of work. So what we do is we've got these wonderful calfskin leather gloves, work gloves, that have got mobile skips printed on them. And we give them a free set of these gloves with a little message on the back that is, we've learned over the years that a set of these is going to be really helpful for what you're about to do. And on the back, there's a little blank spot, and it's the franchisee's opportunity to write with a Sharpie pen, "Hey, Tim, good luck for what you're about to do. Don't worry, you've got this, from Jacob." Give them a little message which then connects them that I'm now your guy. If you ever need help with anything to do with rubbish removal, it's me. So, and what we hope as well is these gloves stay with you over the year that you might not be using us, and you're doing your gardening and you're doing your clean outs with the gloves, and on the back is our logo. And so the next time you're wanting to buy from us, or you're thinking about rubbish removal, you've got that reminder of who we are. So that's how we've taken the Celebrity Service concept and thought, well, how can we make it? It's just one idea about how we can make it just that little bit better than what people expect, and add that in as a way of doing business.
So Celebrity Service, up until now, because I was going through your website trying to find the Celebrity Service offer. It's not an offer. It's just a way you go about servicing your customers as if they were celebrity. So it's a mindset shift, and it's actually a killer question. So Phil McKenney, who was the Vice President of Innovation at Hewlett-Packard, I interviewed many years ago, and he'd come up with this concept of killer questions, which were simply these questions that forced you to look at a problem from angles that you would never have considered previously. What would a Formula One pit stop crew do? What if you had to get it to market within 24 hours with no budget? What if you had $1 million to get it to market?
Yeah.
What would you do if George Clooney was your customer? Is just another killer question. And that's what you've done. I love it. And does that sort of that sort of permeates its way through the business on an ongoing basis? It does.
It does. And if I'm honest, you've got to really push yourself to try and ask those questions more often. Like, I love what you say about the killer questions. You do them once or twice and you get really good outcomes. The challenge, I know, is to keep doing it. Is to keep doing it. Is to not to do one and stop is is turning it from celebrity into great again.
And I bet the glove idea wasn't in the top. The minute you asked, hey, what if George Clooney was a client? What would we do? I bet calfskin gloves, branded calfskin gloves, weren't in the top 3 ideas. You got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because the richness of those, the answers of the killer question, is in perseverance.
It is, and we've got a couple of others that are actually in there as well. There's one that is almost in the whole network now. When I say almost, because it's not as easy to do, but we have one of our franchisees. One of our ways of doing what we do is some franchisees send little text message to their customers in addition to what we send in our system, that, hey, I'm on my way, I'll be there in about 15 minutes, or before I'm picking up the bin, hey, just checking, it's been raining this weekend and I just want to check, in that you don't need it for a little longer. It's one of our things we do. And a really clever franchisee put his celebrity service hat on and go, what would I do if I was sending this message to a celebrity? Turns his phone around, instead of doing like this, turns around like this, does a little video of himself.
Nice.
Oh, g'day, it's Brian here. Just letting you know I'm on my way. And so when I turn up, you'll know what I look like. So it won't be a stranger at your front door. Awesome, right? Like, was so cool. And of course, he gets lots of great reviews and his customers love him because of it.
And it's back to this very simple marketing principle, Jacob, of high perceived value to the customer at low cost to the business. And everything you're talking about, there's no whiz bang outside of getting a few trailers, 20 trailers manufactured that you had to end up dumping. But like all these little ideas are just so powerful. And to the business owner listening who's going, oh yeah, but there's no ROI in that. That's just woo-woo stuff, or that's just fancy fun stuff. Then, they're leaving a lot of money on the table if that's their mindset.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree.
Mobile Skip's online presence, Jacob, let's sort of dig deep there, because it's pretty impressive, and everything you've sort of talked about so far is very clearly reflected on your website, on your Google listing. Let's start with your domain name, mobileskips.com.au. Did that come with buying the business, or was the business called acmemobileskips.com and then you've changed it to buy the industry domain?
No, the words Mobile Skips and the business name Mobile Skips and the whole concept was invented back 15 years ago. The skip bin on a trailer, as it was as a concept as it was called, was not known as Mobile Skips. And so the business was literally, well, how can we make this easy for people to remember and call it what we do, which is a mobile skip on wheels. So that's why Mobile Skips was put together. So our business is one of those ones that the name reflects what we do, but it's starting to become synonymous about within the industry because of our size, where we in the trailable skip bin market, where 60% of the whole marketplace, there's lots and lots of other operators that are seeing what we're doing and copying it and having it a go. If they're listening, I'm probably giving away a lot of the secret sauce, because it's not just about the trailer and the product. It's much, much more about those little things and how you do what you do that makes the business work well.
Did you just have a moment where you've gone, oh, maybe I shouldn't have shared all that? Or no, or you're going, because tell us why, because again, so many, we talk about this concept of helpful marketing so much on this show, which is basically people feel like it's giving away your IP. Identify all the problems that your customers have and go about solving them and write about them, have knowledge centers on your website. And it doesn't work like that. I always use the example of Jamie Oliver. You can watch his show on TV for free. It doesn't make you a celebrity chef. It just makes you want to go and buy his book, go to his restaurant, get his app. You want more of him.
Exactly. No, we share, open and share everything that we do, because it's difficult to do. I mean, doing the little things takes a lot of discipline. You've got to be really, really happy with trying stuff and failing. I mean, I've got a ripper that I tried. There's a poster up in the office that my team still use all the time. I did this crazy campaign that I was convinced was going to work well. It was a complete and utter flop, where we were giving away a slab of beer we're trying to get more trade customers, and we're giving away a cold slab of beer for every second skip they ordered within the month. I think we gave away one slab of beer. It was an absolute disaster, and I was really boldly confident in it.
Yeah.
It didn't stop me going out and trying another one and another one and another one and another one. But the idea of failing and learning from them is how you learn what these little things are that work. And there's probably hundreds of little things that I've tried that haven't worked. And so that's why I'm never really worried about sharing the secrets, because I know that the true secret is just having perseverance and determination and being so convinced that your vision and where you want to go you're going to get there. You might not know exactly when, but by having that strong vision and that perseverance, you will just eventually get there through trial and error.
I can't remember who said it. It was a wonderful quote. People can copy what we do, but not who we are. And that's all about brand, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Back to your online presence, just out of interest, finishing that. So you've got mobileskips.com.au. The name of your business is Mobile Skips, right? Mm-hmm. Is this, I've always wondered, is it good or bad to have just be the industry name? It's like, no, it's not like Kleenex or Hoover, because they became the industry standard. But the local guy here, and I know you guys are on the Sunshine Coast as well, but chili bins are big up here. Kind of fun name. You sort of look twice. Every time I drive past one, I'm like, why is that skip called a chili bin? But it's memorable and it has a visual. Clearly you don't regret it, but why don't you?
I don't regret it because it is our business name and it is what we do. My personal belief is I think your website should be the product or the service or the solution you're solving. I think that there's lots of different theories on different ways to name domains and be what you are. But our Mobile Skips business is our business name. It's our registered business name, and we have that trademark as well. But and I like that the website is exactly the same, because it's part of both. It's our business name and it is the product that you're getting. Mm-hmm. So I believe in having them that way. I would, if it was to have my time again, I would prefer to have one word, not two. Memorizing the actual Mobile Skips word is a little harder. So I know there's a lot of science in having just one 5-letter word.
Do you know what that name would be? That word would be?
Oh, I haven't thought it deeply enough, but
it'd have to be a brand. It'd have to be a brand. It wouldn't be skips.com.au. It would be something sort of almost unrelated potentially.
It would have to be, but there's a lot of a 5-letter word is probably the most easy to remember, but we haven't. It's not that important that we've done a lot of work with it anyway.
You rank incredibly well. Upon my search, you're third organically up here for hire a skip. Your Google listing versus all the others on page one was fantastic. And if I was just to quote it, I Googled hire a skip. Up comes Mobile Skips with your permalink underneath, Sunshine Coast. So now I'm feeling relevant because that's where I live. Then you copy your headline, skip bin hire, Sunshine Coast, 5-star rated. Awesome. Credentialized immediately. Then the copy reads, hire a skip online with instant pricing. Awesome. So I can hire it online. Unreal. I get my price immediately. 3-hour delivery in Sunshine Coast. Awesome. I'm going to get it same day potentially. Choose my ideal delivery time, and our friendly and punctual owner-operators. Goodness me, mate, in about 20 words, you've covered off about 5 concerns that I have and put them to bed. And then you've got rating 5-star, 5,103 reviews, price range 350 to 600. It's like, well done, number one. I imagine you have, if you don't have Studio Hawk doing your SEO, well, I was going to say you should, but you don't need to. They're a major sponsor of this show. But how I
know Studio Hawk really well. We have worked with them in the past, and I know Harry personally, the founder of Studio Hawk.
Great friend of this show.
Yeah, they're excellent, and I'm happy to give them a plug. They're the best SEO experts that I know, and they're excellent at what they do.
I agree.
We know that our core customer uses, one of these. I'm holding up a mobile phone. How they look and shop for their products and services is through their phone, not through their computer. I think at the moment, the last time we looked, which was a week ago, our mobile usage is 67% of our traffic. We knew that a long time ago, and we needed to make it fast and easy. And so we spent a lot of time, quite a few years ago, designing our website and making choices with our website so we were able to present that information that you've seen. So we can we're all over Australia, I mean, all the capital cities and some of the regional areas like the Sunshine Coast. So in the digital world, though, local is everything for a service provider. So there's no point someone in the Sunshine Coast Googling our name and the page from Melbourne comes up. They just go, I don't need that business. They're based in Melbourne. So we've, being a franchise model, we've done all the things with Google and our website to give them all localized content on the website, and where possible, that they have a Google My Business location for each franchisee in their yard, their service area.
It felt totally local and personal, and having a whole page dedicated with all the detail I needed for skip bins on the Sunshine Coast, and constantly referring back to the Sunshine Coast. It's genius. Why'd you sack Harry?
No, we didn't sack. We didn't sack him. We worked alongside Harry when we were figuring this out, and so we've got a team internally. So as our business has grown, we've now got people internally that do the work that Studio Hawk was doing for us. And so we just got big enough to afford our own people in-house. But
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, well, and you just demonstrating the importance of SEO, which, again, I don't think enough business owners really, well, they don't put enough importance on it, nor do they really understand it. And that's understandable because it's super geeky, but boy, oh boy, you get it right.
Yeah, SEO, and SEO is, you're right, SEO is complex, but worth having an expert that really knows what they're doing help guide you through the long-term process of getting it right.
100%.
And I think depending on your business, I know with us as well, we also rely on Google advertising too, but what I can learn is doing both well at the same time actually makes both of them work better together. So your organic listing grows faster if you're advertising alongside of the work you're doing with SEO.
100%. Studiohawk.com.au/Timbo would be a good place to start if anyone's wondering how to get their SEO sorted. Google reviews 5,103, clearly because you offer a great service and you deliver on what you promise. So putting that aside, what's your process for physically getting someone to complete a Google review?
It's actually the very last point in our process. So we ask for a Google review, or we also partner with productreview.com.au, and we do that because they're an Australian-based site that's trustworthy for a lot of products and now services as well. We're very proud to say that we're now 4 years in a row the best rubbish removal and skip in hire business in Australia for product review, which is great, and our whole network's proud of that. How we do it is we simply give customers the opportunity to give us feedback. But we actually start with a process. We have an internal voice of customer program, which is we have more detailed questions we ask because we want to understand what their experience is like depending on how they used it. So we ask them that first, and we also ask them, would you like to give us a review? And that's all we do. And we give them a specific link. We do it in a text message. We do it straight after the job's finished when the memory is strong. And what we know is that when a customer takes the opportunity to write a review about you and document it in writing, it actually reinforces their positive experience, and they're far more likely to tell their family and friends about it too.
Love it. Social media, putting aside SEO, anything else online in terms of like social media, or you said you're doing Google ads and etc.?
Yeah, we do Instagram, and we've started playing with TikTok. And to be honest, I'm a bit old for that. Like I'm This is a bit of a new area for me, and as a business owner, one of the things that I'm trying to learn to do myself is to play in spaces that I don't understand and that make me uncomfortable, because that's both in AI and in social media. So we're starting to take those steps now in Instagram and TikTok, and we're convinced that this is the future of how we will end up broadcasting what we do to our future customer base. And AI is the other place as well, is where we're exploring ways in which we can use AI actively. And we're doing this. We're building some tools where we can help our customers determine what sort of product they have depending on the waste they've got. And I'm pretty excited by that. But Tim, it's a scary world. It's moving.
Mate.
The AI side is moving so quickly, but it is moving.
Jacob, don't even get me started. I had Dr. Katrina Wallace, who's one of the sharks on Shark Tank and one of Australia's leading experts on AI, on a couple of months ago, and it's another conversation. It can be a good conversation, or it can be an incredibly soul-destroying conversation. Yeah, let's not even go there right now, because it's just
what we've recognised is it is coming and it is moving, and there's some really great tools that can make our customers' journey and our customers' experience a better one, potentially. So we're seeing how we can use it to make the customer experience a better one, not as a way to actually reduce cost in the business or make things easier, actually just enhance it and make the experience better. And I think with that lens, it makes me much more comfortable.
Just out of interest, and without going into any detail, Jacob, how do you work on AI-related ideas? A, it's new. B, there is so much to know. There are so many tools on offer. Is that just an internal, like almost challenge that you set your marketing people, or have you brought in someone from outside?
A bit of both. We've got a few people that I have met externally that are doing this really as a business. So using the AI tools and being up to speed with what's going on out there to help educate us internally, and then having someone in the team that loves it, that just wants to be innovative. And that goes for sort of anything. So if you're wanting to do something or be innovative or be creative, you can't do it without a team member or someone in your business that really just loves it and wants to play with it and learn about it and explore it.
Above the line, we've talked about online. But a lot of skip companies, from what I can see, get sort of caught up in, whether it be local newspaper ads or sport ground signage and sponsorship of the local community groups, and all of which I'm sure as a local area marketing initiative can be quite powerful. Do your franchisees spend a lot of time above the line?
We only spend a small amount, and it is in local marketing. So it's very hard to take spend that you've got in an area that you can measure, and that you can see the results, and bearing in mind our type of product marketing is very much finding the needle in the haystack, because of what you said earlier on in our conversation about our customers needing us sort of once a year. If I was to go and advertise loudly and proudly on radio, you're loudly and proudly advertising to that one or two customers that need you right now.
That's right.
Yeah. So if I ran a special for free skips tomorrow, it's not like you would just go, "Oh, I need one," and you'll just do it, unless you've got stuff to get rid of. Yeah. So our above the line, we encourage. So schools are a big one, and communities. So where there's an opportunity to sponsor, school fetes and to help out with local communities and build a relationship in that community, that's what we encourage our franchisees to do, and they do a great job there.
I just was, as you're speaking, like I grew up in an advertising agency when basically we just booked TV, radio, press, print, and outdoor. The fragmentation of the media landscape in the last 20, 30 years is just extraordinary. And as business owners, it's great cause for anxiety, really, as to where to put your money. And sometimes the easiest place to put your money is not the best place. And, you're talking about, you could do it on radio, and two people hear it who do need a skip, but 2,000 hear it who don't. All of a sudden you'd probably, you'd be better off. This is not an idea, but just as an example of what you were talking about. If there was a podcast around living in a minimalist lifestyle, and it was an Australian podcast, then all of a sudden you having some kind of partnership with that podcast would make sense. But then you got to find a lot of them in order to get the bigger audience.
Exactly. And it's actually talking about what our strategy is with social media, is as we build our followers on social media, it's actually looking at where our customer base is spending time and the influencers that might have similar audiences, and reaching out to those people to use our product and talk about our product in a great way. But it's thinking about where our audience is most likely going to be listening, and then seeing if we can join in on that conversation as opposed to just doing it on our own. And that's how we're going to grow our base beyond the bottom of the funnel as well.
Yeah, great. Hey, Jacob, what an awesome conversation. Thank you.
Thanks. It's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
A great story. There's so many tips in there, buddy. I think I might have to transcribe this and start highlighting what to do and when. Mobileskips.com.au is where you can find Jacob and his team. They're all around Australia. Any parting words, Jacob?
Keep enjoying what you do. If you ever stop enjoying it, figure out what it will get out, or go back to what used to give you a lot of joy and fun, and keep doing that.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Jacob. Well, there you go, team. Jacob Spencer of mobileskips.com.au. I put Jacob in the same category as past guest Joshua Nichols of Platinum Electricians, a humble, smart business owner doing great things. If that's what you're into, then take a listen to that episode. It's episode 433 with Joshua. You'll find the links in the show notes to the various resources he mentioned, including the product review website, Jeff Ram's book on creating a celebrity service. Love that idea. And my Killer Questions episode as well. And if you'd like to watch that interview, feel free to lash out and join my ridiculously expensive membership over at patreon.com/marketing podcast. First 7 days of FOC. You're welcome. Hopefully, I'll see you on the inside. Righto, team. It's that time of the episode again. Time for you to take action on what you have learned. Please do so, because ideas will remain just ideas without action. And if you can support the work I do, please join over at patreon.com/marketing podcast, my small business owner membership. Next week, you and I will finally learn how to dress for success. Well, I need to anyway. Thanks to New York stylist to the stars, Nicole Russo. That is a fun interview. Look forward to that. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit the subscribe button on your podcast app, where you'll find 659 more chats with successful business founders. Big thanks to Sam Heathcote for stitching the marketing gold together, and to our in-house rock star, Lockie Doley, for the wonderful music bed. Most importantly, a very, very big thanks to you. Thanks for lending me your ears. Thank you for making the time to tune in. And thank you for sharing it with other business owners if you happen to do that. May your marketing be the absolute best marketing. Bye for now.